Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm Bill Maley, the Brighton Town Supervisor, and I'm very pleased to welcome everyone to our October 26th, 2022 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. It's great to see so many people here tonight. In a moment, we will begin the open forum portion of our meeting, when members of the public will have the opportunity to share their comments with the Town Board. If you're watching us on our YouTube live stream or on the Brighton Cable Access channel, you'll have to log into Zoom in order to participate in the open forum. If you'd like to do that, speak with us, ask any question. There are detailed instructions for doing that on the Town of Brighton webpage. That, of course, is townofbrighton.org. And we welcome your participation. We also continue to welcome and make our meetings accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing community with our ASL interpreters, Allie and Heather. Thank you both. As a reminder, the agenda for tonight's meeting, for those of you that are here in the room, is on the back table. And if you're watching at home, that is also available on the town's webpage. That will give you all of the information that the board is using tonight and reviewing in making our decision-making processes. So with that, we will start the meeting as we always do with a pledge to the flag. If you're able to, please rise. I'll ask Councilmember Corrado to lead us, please.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have two proclamations being issued tonight by the town board. The first one recognizes October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Obviously a very, very important recognition that affects far too many in our community. Whereas each year in the United States, an estimated 250,000 women and 2,300 men are diagnosed with breast cancer, and approximately 42,000 women and 500 men perish from this disease. Now, whereas when breast cancer is detected in its earliest stages, either through self-examination or as a result of a mammogram, there is a 90% 5-year survival rate for people diagnosed with the disease. And whereas prevention and early detection are key to winning the fight against breast cancer, with a study from the Journal of Women's Health reporting that more than half of cancer survivors state that they first became of an abnormality in their breasts by their own self-examination. And whereas Breast Cancer Awareness Month provides an important opportunity to remind women and men, and it's important to stress that, maintain a healthy lifestyle with nutritious food and regular exercise for prevention, and to perform self-exams and get scheduled mammograms for early diagnoses. And whereas Breast Cancer Awareness Month is also a time to celebrate the incredible resilience of breast cancer survivors and to remember all those who have been lost to this disease. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, along with the members of the Brighton Town Council, do hereby recognize October 2022 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the town of Brighton, and we remind everyone of how critical early detection is in the fight against breast cancer. This proclamation is signed today, this 26th day of October 2022. Our Our second proclamation tonight recognizes the Diwali holiday. We're in the midst of this holiday season, which is celebrated by many members of our community, particularly members of the Hindu, Sikh, and Jain faith traditions. I'd like to invite Sanjay Hiranandani, who is a trustee at the Rochester Hindu Temple, to join me at the podium, along with other members of your community that are here with us tonight. We welcome you all to join me here at the podium. And here's our proclamation recognizing, celebrating Diwali. Whereas Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, and some Buddhists worldwide celebrate Diwali, also known as the Festival of Lights, each fall. And whereas this 5-day festival celebrates the triumph of light over darkness, knowledge over ignorance, and good over evil, and begins upon the new moon in the Hindu month of Kartika. And whereas this year, Diwali began on Monday, October 24th, and it's celebrated by many local families who decorate their homes with diyas, those are lamps, rangolis, designs that are made out of colored sand, powder, rice, or flower petals, and colored lights while sharing sweets and exchanging gifts. Whereas Diwali is arguably the most important holiday of the year for South Asians and people of South Asian descent, and locally, the Hindu Temple of Rochester celebrates this great festival with its growing membership, preserving and sharing Hindu traditions for everyone to learn about and experience. Whereas envisioned by a small group of Hindu families in the area during the 1970s, the Hindu Temple of Rochester began as a collection of families honoring their religious and cultural traditions in each other's homes. They eventually purchased properties in 1990 and then constructed the temple in planned stages. And whereas today, the Hindu Temple of Rochester is a place where people enjoy regular pujas, acts of worship, the celebration of festivals, and they take classes in Hindi, dance, and yoga, among others, thereby building community and passing down traditions to new generations of children. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and all of the members of the Town Council, do hereby recognize Diwali this October 24th through October 28th, 2022, and encourage all Brightonians to learn more about the Festival of Diwali and embrace the uniting concept of celebrating the triumph of good over evil. And this proclamation is signed on the 26th day of October, 2022, and I'm pleased to present it to you, Sanjay, but to the entire community that are here with us tonight and all of our South Asian and others who celebrate Diwali.
Thank you. Happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali. We'll get a, why don't we all come on in so that we can get the picture. Maybe Bridget, you might want to come in even a little closer. So.
And everybody.
Perfect. And Sanjay, please.
Yeah, I would love to say a couple of words. Thank you, Supervisor and Town Council persons. This is emotional for me because this is such a big deal to our entire community. We are all, well, except for Arjun, we're all first-generation immigrants that have left our extended families back in India, and we're now all Brightonians for whom this entire town has become our extended family. You have all welcomed us into your homes. We have celebrated many Christmases with you, many Hanukkahs with you, many Eids with you, and every festival possible. And we are so happy to share Diwali with this town and the fact that it's been recognized. It's such a big deal for our community to be recognized in this way. As Supervisor Maley said, we started our temple with, you know, a bunch of people rotating households, and we now have a place of worship right down the street here. So it's a big deal for us. It's a very significant holiday for us, and we'd like to invite you, Supervisor Maley, to light the dia, which you talked about, and we did bring some treats for your executive session in town board, and we'd also like to present you with a little. Can you hold this for me? Neelamji has a strategy on this. Why don't you do it, Neelamji? Or is he too high up for you?
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is beautiful. I will treasure this. Thank you, thank you, thank you all.
You can just turn around so she can take it.
This is, wow.
And if we could have you light the dia on behalf of the entire town, that would be. Don't let Bill hog all the treats.
Here, and you're welcome to sample some wonderful Diwali sweets. The matches. I'm just truly overwhelmed by this gift. This is, I know not everybody could necessarily see it, but this shawl, it's just magnificent. Thank you so much. One moment. Okay, those are our proclamations this evening. We'll now begin the open forum. We hold our open forum at the beginning of every town board meeting. I would note that if you are here to speak to either of our two public hearings tonight, both of which relate to the town's 2023 budget, I would encourage you to wait until those hearings are called, which will take place very shortly after the open forum. But if you do want to participate in the open forum and you're here in person, please raise your hand so we can recognize you. If you're participating remotely in the meeting and you wish to speak during the open forum, or for that matter during the public hearings tonight, again, you must join the meeting on Zoom. And as I mentioned previously, there are detailed instructions for doing so on the town's webpage. You'll be admitted from the Zoom waiting room by the host if you raise your hand to speak. I ask all speakers, whether in person or remote, to please state your name and address if you would. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes, and I'll give you a 30-second warning before your time expires. Our goal here tonight and at every town board meeting is to give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with the town board and for us to be able to listen to your insights. Therefore, please direct your remarks to the town board and not to the room or other speakers. Please refrain from personal attacks or from outbursts of any kind during the open forum, out of respect for the speakers and for the time of everyone here tonight. And I would note we may or we may not be able to answer your questions, but I assure you we take your comments and your input very seriously. So I now declare the open forum to begin. Is there anyone here that would, before I call it open, I do want to note we do have some high school students, I believe, all from Pittsford Sutherland. Everybody here, we've got some students from Pittsford Sutherland, so I want to welcome each of you, and of course you are also welcome to speak to the board during the open forum if you so choose. But the open forum is open. Is there anyone here in the room that would like to speak to the town board tonight? Yes, sir. Come on up to the podium.
My name is Jag Paridi. I'm a Brighton town resident, and I'm glad that you recognized Diwali as part of Proclamation for this year, so I'm glad for it to happen. But I also want to bring another side of this to this group. First thing, Town Supervisor Bill Morelli and the rest of the people on this board should have, they've conducted absolute failure for protecting immigrant families, and they're promoting hatred towards Hindus and Indians and making false accusations against Hindus and Indians. They are making false complaints. They're making false reports. They're allowing this to happen. And I'm talking with the police department, David Catoldi's office. We need justice. You should have condemned and investigated the harm that has been done to my family. And you have all this time to support people like Jeremy Cooney to make these proclamations, but you don't have the time to find out and investigate the harm that has been done to my family. We need justice. On September 4th, 5th, and 6th, we were protesting in front of, at French Road Elementary School for the harm that the school did to my family. You are supporting terrorists like Kevin McGowan, Karen Morris, David Catoldi, Allison Ryu, Melissa Rowland,
I'm sorry,
and Tara
sir.
O'Brien.
Sir, if I may.
Just let me finish. Let me finish.
I'm
let
sorry.
me finish.
I will not, I will let you finish, but I will
understand.
not allow you to use a word like terrorist.
But that is what it has been done to my family, Mr.
Please
Moley.
continue with
How can the harm that has been done to this by the school district that they did to my family, how can that be allowed to happen by the Brighton police? They never took our complaints about the school nor the school district on orders by Katoldi himself to his officers. We went to the Brighton Police Department several times, and many of you know about about the case that my family is going through
Granddaughter.
with my child. The art teacher, Melissa Rowland, at the French Road Elementary School, behaved very inappropriately with my child, and she was never prosecuted nor investigated, and she is still working at this school.
You have 30 seconds
The
left.
town board is supporting the school district, and the Brighton police. They never took our complaints. Why is the Brighton town board supporting people like McGowan and Katoldi and these teachers and Allison Ryu? They should be fired, and they should be prosecuted and arrested. How can Kevin McGowan get an award for Best Superintendent of New York State for the year? He should be returning that award. And all of the teachers that were involved in this case should be condemned. The Brighton Town Board should condemn the harm that has been done to my family in public. And Bill Moley, on September 14th, I came to Brighton to meet you. You said you would never, and you said that you didn't talk to us, and you could not make an appointment. You had just walked away back into your office.
Your
and
time
Stephen
is up,
Hunt,
sir.
Investigator Stephen, touched my wife sexually in front of me. Why was he never investigated and prosecuted?
Time is up. Thank you very much.
No, you have to answer that. We need
up.
justice.
I'm
I'm
need
sorry.
justice. No,
I'm
that's
sorry.
why we're
Your
here.
time is up, sir.
I understand. Then let my mom talk.
She can. Your time is up.
Our family
Please
is
sit down, sir.
No, let my mother talk.
I will let her talk.
No,
but
I'm not going to sit down.
Ma'am,
she
go
should
ahead.
talk.
You may
Speak up
speak.
here.
You may speak for
up here.
3 minutes as well.
No.
Go ahead.
My granddaughter,
Please state
she
your
was the
name
one-
and your address for the record.
beg your pardon?
Please state your name and your address for the record.
My name?
Yes, please.
My name's Surya Pariti.
Okay, thank
I'm
you.
the mother, and my son, my daughter-in-law, Priyanka, and Vincenza is my granddaughter. She was in the school without anything, false allegations and false allegations. Everything is a lie. She was taken to there's so many places, you all know everything. She was taken to the, by foster care and this and that, everything. The parents were so much, they've harmed like anything. No peace of mind, no nothing for more than about 18 months now. This is really a false allegations against our family, which we don't even accept that, because we didn't do anything wrong. The child, not me, our family, the child in the school, she didn't do anything wrong.
We have been harmed for the past 18 months.
18 months actually. So which
And
is
it's
not,
still going on.
Sir,
No, this board has
we
to
have
know.
we have a speaker. Do not interrupt her. You've been
board has
given
to
your
know.
opportunity
Continue on.
to speak.
yeah, this is what I want to tell you. These are false allegations. Everything is false. They put on my family so much they went through because of this case and everything. It is all harmed. The family is harmed, which is not right at all. Which is not right at all. Even the child, she's also scared because she didn't do anything. Why? They had to do so much. False allegations of our family is not at all right.
My daughter's afraid to go to school
She's afraid to go to school too.
because of the harm done by the school. And this whole board,
Sir?
district, they've conducted fraud,
Sir,
and they've told lies.
you've had your opportunity to speak, sir. Go ahead.
Continue, Mom.
Yeah, that's what I want to tell. Everybody should know, because we are the, immigrant families, Indian families. We have got, just like, so many things, nice things we do, everything. So this particular in the case, to the child of 8-year-old having done is really false, false, false.
You have 30 seconds.
Yes. Till today, the child is suffering, we are suffering, my son and my daughter-in-law, they are the parents. They are the parents of the child. Whole life they had to go through everything. I'm only the mother, 82-year-old mother. I just don't, these false allegations putting to our families, it is all false, 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 which I don't rule. Please, even to the police station, everything, we did everything. But now, investigation, we just done. We want justice, please.
Thank you.
And
Your time is up.
You should investigate for it. You should investigate for the harm that that David Catoli did and his officers.
Thank you. Please,
Investigator
please.
Hunt was sexually touched my
Sir.
wife, but he was never investigated.
Sir,
he's
please.
still working
Please
for
sit
him.
down. Please
No,
sit down.
no, you have to investigate.
sit.
You have to condemn. You have to ask what happened in my family's case. You
Are
guys
there any
supporting
other, is there
people.
anyone else
No, you
here?
have to know.
Is there anyone
You
else
have to know.
here
You have to
to address?
investigate.
Sir,
You have to condemn what has happened.
Please,
Publicly. This whole board
please.
has to
sir,
condemn.
please sit down
Why did you
now.
talk to me on September 14th? I approached you.
Is there anyone else
walked
that
away.
wishes to address the board during the
Wanted your
open
help.
forum?
You didn't talk to us at all. And you're
Can I have
still
a-
supporting these people. You're still supporting.
Supervisor,
Yes,
I would
Counsel.
recommend
hatred
that the
and the
town board
victims.
take a brief
I'm-
recess.
You're
I-
victims of hate and racism.
Do we
in
need a
this
motion?
district.
Do we need a motion?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
No,
Can I have a
you
motion
you're supporting all of this. You're letting this happen.
to take a,
No, you're letting this happen. You have to
what motion would you
investigate it.
like, Counselor?
I'd like to have a few moments of time with the town board to talk with the
Attorney-client.
town attorney.
Thank you.
We need help.
Can I have a motion?
Is it
It's a
would this be
motion
Need
for
help. We need
attorney-client.
justice.
I'll make a motion that the town board recess to have discussion with the town attorney.
Can I have a second, please?
Why are you
Dan,
doing that?
where is the town clerk?
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
We're just
Councilmember
bringing
Werner,
to the attention of the group
Councilmember
here
Corrado,
Aye.
of what
Supervisor
happened to my
Maley.
family.
Aye. We will now go into meet with council. Okay, we are now coming out of our recess, and you can resume the audio and the video. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board during the open forum?
I'm still not done, so please. I just have some other things that I want to make sure that the town board knows.
Mr. Paridi?
Look,
Is-
all I'm here is
first, please,
is to show my
Mr.
grievances, what's going
Paridi,
on.
Mr. Paridi, I don't want to have to take any further action. If you would please sit down for a moment and let me say something?
I'm listening.
No, please sit down. I have warned you, Mr. Paridi. Please sit down.
But I'm listening. What is the town going to do to help us now?
Is there anyone else here in the room or on our Zoom? There's no one on the Zoom with their hand raised. Is there anyone else in the room that would like to address the board during the open forum? Mr. Paridi, I will give you an additional 2 minutes to address the board. I will advise you when your 2 minutes are up. You will need to leave the podium when that happens. And you need to understand that warning. Do you understand that, Mr. Paridi? Mr. Paridi, Mr. Paridi, Mr. Paridi, will you leave the podium after your 2 minutes?
Fine, I'll leave the podium, but
Thank you. Then you may speak for 2 minutes.
Oh, okay, look, you guys, you went back into your room, but how are you going, with the grievances that I'm bringing, Bill, David Catoli and his officers, we've said many times, we've come and made complaints about the school district, the school, the police themselves. Nobody has taken our reports at all. And they never investigated the harm that has been done to my family. You have the time to make a proclamation, 2 proclamations tonight, which is fine, but you don't have the time to investigate, to even ask what the harm that has been done to my family. My daughter is scared to go to school. She's scared to go to the French Road Elementary School. My family has been clearly harmed with these false allegations. The police are not taking any of our complaints. Stephen Hunt he touched my wife inappropriately in front of me, and we've asked for police reports. We made the police reports, meaning coming down to talked about and stated what we saw and what we're complaining about. We've asked for those police reports many times, but we have gotten nowhere. They said they will check, or they said they'll get back to us, but nothing has happened. That part should be investigated. Since you're the town supervisor over the police department, you should investigate why the reports are, and also that false reports were been made about my family. That should be investigated. Why the reports have not been given to us, that should be investigated. What the school district had done to us, Kevin McGowan, Melissa Rowland, the inappropriate videos that she took, and she's still working at the school. She was never prosecuted. She was never investigated by the police. That still falls under that jurisdiction. You should look into that. We are victims of hate and racism, discrimination. You name it, we faced it. And this town board is responsible for
Mr.
bodies for
Paridi,
doing those actions against
Mr.
us.
Paridi, you advised me that you would sit down after your 2 minutes.
What are you going to do?
Please sit down.
What is this town board going to do to help my
Mr. Paridi, if you continue to be disruptive, thank you. We're now going to continue with the meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Deanne, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing.
Aye. Tonight we have 2 public hearings on the agenda.
At least if I let my mother talk.
Mr. Paridi,
I understand
one
you
more,
talk about me, but
Mr. Paridi, one more outburst. You must discontinue this disruptive behavior. One more outburst, and you will be asked to leave the room. If you do not leave the room voluntarily, you will.
based on the grievances I mentioned.
Mr. Paridi, please leave the room.
No, seriously.
You're continuing to disrupt this meeting. Mr. Paridi, please leave the room.
Okay, fine, but at least help us. Really, help us.
False allegations, please help us. Granddaughter, that's what we need, the justice.
We now begin the first of the 2 public hearings this evening. This is the public hearing on the proposed 2023 preliminary budget. It has been amended to reflect a reorganization of the Facilities Department and the Public Works Department as referenced in correspondence. I know notice was given. You recited that notice was given at our last meeting, Dan, but if you would confirm that notice of this public hearing has been given.
My computer is slow to respond. It was in 2 weeks of the Daily Record.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't have
That's
the
fine.
date.
Then I declare this public hearing to be open. At our last town board meeting, the finance director gave a thorough presentation about the budget, and that presentation is part of the record of the first public hearing. Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to address the board during this public hearing on the budget? And I will say, as I did last time, these 2 public hearings are related. They both relate to the budget. One relates to the budget itself. The other one relates to assessment rolls for service charges, maintenance charges, capital improvements, and sewer rent charges for special improvement districts. So you don't have to worry whether you're raising your hand to speak at the right time, whether you're talking about the special districts or the budget as a whole. You can feel free to raise your hand and address the board. But is there anyone here tonight that would like to address the board concerning the budget? Yes, sir. Come on up and introduce yourself. Thank you, Dave. Take your time.
David Brighton, 340 Ashbourne Road, Rochester 14618. Live right here in Brighton. I was looking at the tax bills for the past several years, and my comments regard the burden that these taxes place on all residents and property owners of taxes in Brighton, but particularly people on fixed income. Pulled up some numbers, and for purpose of discussion, I've combined both the town and county and the school district taxes. For this year, that combination comes to $9,339. Now, we're both on Social Security. My Social Security monthly is $1,670, which means it would take me 6 months of my Social Security payments to pay for those taxes. And taxes have gone up over the past 10 years by roughly 20%. And we do get some relief. We've got STAR payments and the school tax relief, but it's still quite a bit of money. It really is. And I know we get a lot for our money. I looked on the website where all the money is spent and where it comes from. That's a really good presentation on your website. Nevertheless, it is a lot of money. And every year when we get these tax bills, we wonder, how can we continue to live here in Brighton? What are the options? Do have one option of a sort. My wife has a small piece of property out in West Texas, out in the Trans-Pecos, Reeves County. Not much going on there. It's pretty dry. Dirt, creosote bush. It's almost a desert. But there, the assessed value is roughly $48,000. Taxes, and that includes Reeves County, the school district, the fire district, the hospital district, the ambulance district. Total taxes come to $953. How do they manage to do that?
Where is that, Dave?
It's Reeves County. It's out in Trans-Pecos.
Okay.
You know where the corner of New Mexico and Texas are? It's down there. Small population. I guess in theory we could move out there. My mother-in-law suggested I move out there at one point, but I don't know what her motivation was. But really, I just want to point out how expensive it is here in Brighton, even though we do get a lot for our money, and there are other places where it's not nearly as expensive. Of course, the politics are often different as well. So, just want to make those observations, those comments.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to address the board on the public hearing on the proposed 2023 budget? Hearing none, I declare this public hearing to be closed, and we will again open up a second public hearing on the assessment rolls. Any discussion from the board? Again, we have one change, and it relates to the reorganization in our facilities area with the additional responsibilities that Gary Donofrio has been given, managing a much larger portfolio, including highway, the pool, and we anticipate soon additional construction and then operation of a winter farmers market. It was clear that his role is increasing, and it's important that that be formalized, and so that change is in this amendment to the budget, which will add about just slightly over $7,000 increase to personnel cost for that position. And the finance director is.
There was also one other small change, and that was a reduction in the refuse district, our consolidated refuse district. There was two parcels that were merged into one parcel, so therefore one unit was dropped off. So we did reduce the refuse district budget by $280, which did reduce the levy for that consolidated district.
Thank you. And are there any other amendments? Sometimes we have small sewer or anything else, just to clarify that there are none. Any comments from the board?
I'd just like to express my gratitude to Paula Parker and Suzanne Zaso from the Finance Department for getting down into the details to the penny on every single line item of that budget, explaining to us in the town board at our Finance and Administrative Services Committee meetings. I'd also like to express my gratitude to the department heads. In order to operate the town, we need people and we need equipment to provide the services that we provide in this era of rising costs. This year was particularly difficult. And I wanted to thank the department heads for helping with making those difficult decisions as to what needed to be done this year and what could be deferred perhaps into future years. And I just wanted to express that.
Thank you, Jason. David, I do, your concern is obviously an important one. And in particular, we recognize that a significant number of our residents are on fixed incomes or have other relatively lower incomes, in some cases disrupted by the pandemic. Obviously, the taxes you describe, as you correctly point out, include the county, the school, and the town, which is the smallest actually of those three. And I appreciate and agree with you that we do provide a lot of services. We are proposing an increase in the tax levy. It's about around 3.8%. I would note that that is, of course, significantly less than the current rate of inflation. And we're looking at a number of our significant, the finance director at our meeting, at our public hearing 2 weeks ago, posted a chart of one item, our fuel and diesel expenses, which we anticipate will be rising in the neighborhood of 50% for the coming year. Our health insurance premiums for our employees up 7.5%. State retirement system contributions up close to 15% for everyone except our police, who also go up, but at a somewhat smaller rate. And the list goes on. So we are very cognizant of the need to operate in as efficient a manner as we can, because we don't want to be in a position where people with a fixed income or people with lower incomes are not able to live comfortably in Brighton. It's something we spend a lot of time addressing as we put the budget together. And it's something we're going to continue. This increase is larger than we have had, and that really is a function of that inflation. But we're going to continue to work as hard as we possibly can, even though the town tax piece is the smallest piece of the tax bill that you pay over the course of the year. We know that any increase can be problematic, and we're going to keep working at it. We're going to measure that with the need to continue to provide a high level of service to our residents. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge we take seriously, and it's a challenge that it's a big part of the reason we make the budget development process so transparent that we go far beyond what the state requires. We're holding 2 public hearings. The state only requires 1. Our department heads each present their department budget at a workshop open to the public. Our finance committee reviews the budget. We want public input, and we appreciate you coming in tonight, David, to share that. We're going to work hard to try to keep Brighton affordable, recognizing that, for example, the police department. We have the best police department, I believe, in New York State. That is a significant expense. The police department and the highway department are the 2 largest departments in terms of cost. But where would we be without snowplows and people paving our streets and our police officers? So thank you for coming in. Thank you for sharing your concern. Know that it's top of our mind. And I also, Jason, as you did, I want to thank Paula and your team and all of the department heads who worked hard, I think harder this year than ever, to try to come in with your initial requests, recognizing that this was going to be a tough year. You put a lot of thought into those requests. Paula, you, Suzanne, and your team there did a lot of work paring some things down. And it's a hard process, but I want to thank you all for doing it. Any other comments from the board? The public hearing has ended. Jason, if you would make the motion that you have in your packet to approve this budget.
With respect to the proposed supervisor's 2023 preliminary budget is amended to reflect reorganization of the Public Works Facilities Department, I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Next, we have the public hearing on the proposed 2023 assessment rolls for service charges, maintenance charges, capital improvements, and sewer rent charges for special improvement districts within the town. Again, this is the second public hearing we've held on this matter, and I know we did
got the dates.
the notice and everything.
September 30th and October 14th.
As well as in our
Website,
newsletter.
Newsletter, clerk's bulletin board. Yep.
Correct. Legal notice having been given, I declare this public hearing to be open. Again, the subject matter of this is related to the budget and was covered in the finance director's presentation at the last public hearing, and it will be included in the record. Is there anyone here tonight that would like to address the board concerning the proposed 2023 assessment rolls? Public hearing. And I don't see any hands raised on our Zoom. Hearing none, then I declare the public hearing on the proposed 2023 assessment rolls to be closed. Jason, again, can I have a motion to take action on this motion?
Yes, with respect to the proposed 2023 assessment rolls for service charges, maintenance charges, capital improvements, and sewer rent charges for special improvement districts within the town, I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Again, thank you. Moving now to communications. Robin, can I have a motion to receive and file the communications, please?
Certainly. I move that we receive and file the communications.
Second.
The first item relates to a communication that I sent to the Public Service Commission, asking the Public Service Commission to deny the rate increase requested by RG&E. David, that's one of the ways we're going to keep working to try to make Brighton affordable. I think, and I think I say in my letter, that for RG&E to ask for a rate increase at this point, given their service failings, but also given their long history of infrastructure maintenance failings that they're only now beginning to address, it would be unconscionable for the PSC to issue them a rate increase. Assemblymember Damon Meeks, Assemblymember Sarah Clark, Senator Jeremy Cooney, and I, along with representatives from Metro Justice, held a press conference calling on the PSC to deny this rate increase, and we're going to continue to try to see to it that utility rates are viable here and don't reflect unnecessary charges, and frankly do reflect the failures that we've seen from RG&E. So that's the first item. Second item is communication from the Sustainability Oversight Committee, which they do every year as part of the capital improvement plan development process, and it's something I've told the story many times, but when I started as supervisor, before I started as supervisor 11 years ago, seeing their report for 2012 was I think the first time they did it, and it was the first time I read it on the proposed 2012 budget. And I was struck by the level of commitment evidenced by the SOC for sustainability, for the detail that they went into the budget, making recommendations designed to promote sustainability objectives, and to this date, they continue to do that. They point out a number of areas where they recognize the town for the work that we have done in terms of implementing sustainable solutions. I'm pleased that this year's budget and the next 3-year capital improvement plan does include many of the forward-thinking goals that the Sustainability Oversight Committee has put in this letter and previous letters. As we discussed, we're going to be purchasing, actually this year, we hope, we have orders in for 2 electric vehicles, EVs, for the first time. We've been buying hybrids for a number of years. All of our police vehicles for the last several years have been hybrids, but now we're also buying EVs. Tree planting efforts as part of our tree plan, a 20-year Tree City USA, and the list goes on. But we're not resting on our laurels, and the SOC identifies a number of areas where we can continue to do more, and that's something we're going to continue to look at and hopefully do successfully. So I want to thank the volunteers on the Sustainability Oversight Committee. These are folks that really know the area of climate change, of environmental review, and I'm grateful for all that they do. The last item of communication is from Mr. Lawrence Hauk, the treasurer of the Brighton Fire District, and it includes the 2023 budget for the Brighton Fire District. Any questions or comments concerning those items of communication? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Before we go to the committee report, so I do want to update the board and the audience on a couple of items of communication that we discussed at our last meeting. The first one is a proposal that we had from Heritage Christian Services to establish a community residential facility at 1240 Crittenden Road. That item is on tonight's agenda for action, and representatives are here from Heritage Christian. That was also the subject of a presentation from Heritage Christian Services and discussion at our West Brighton Community Forum last week. So thank you for being here, and we'll get to that matter shortly. I also want to mention another communication item that we had on our agenda last time. Communication from Brian Stratton, the CEO of the New York State Canal Corporation, concerning a renewed plan by the Canal Corporation to engage in something very similar to what they proposed several years ago, something very close to a clear cut of trees along canal embankments. As you'll recall, the towns of Brighton, Perrington, and Pittsford sued the Canal Corporation successfully over their original plan because of their failure to properly review it under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. But they're back with not many changes. So I can update the board and the community that next week I will be meeting with the county executive's office and with the supervisors again of Pittsford and Perrington to discuss our next steps, because honestly, in my mind, they really still haven't come close to taking into account the high level of commentary that they received last time around critiquing their plans for the canal. And we want to make sure that our residents and the residents throughout the county, particularly in Pittsford and Perrington, that their voices are heard and that we can come up with a better plan that addresses safety issues. We all want the canal embankments to be safe, but we don't want it to become a sterile environment. And we are very confident that those two interests can both be addressed. So more to follow on that, I am sure. Now we'll go to committee reports, starting with Community Services. Robin.
Thank you, Bill. The Community Services Committee met last Wednesday, October 19th, and among the items discussed were, under continuing business, park issues. The staff is moving ahead with the fall maintenance schedule in the park system. And unfortunately, in the process of that maintenance, they did notice that the Lynch Woods Nature Park parcel, which is along the Lehigh Valley Trail, has seen an increase in vandalism, unauthorized fire pits, and obvious efforts at arson. Matt Beeman, our park superintendent, is working with Brighton Police Department to try to mitigate and monitor these issues. And so please, public, responsibly use our trails. Water is officially being cut off in the parks for the season on November 3rd. Tennis courts have now been completely resurfaced and dual lined for tennis and pickleball, and a new net lowering mechanism has been installed to accommodate play for both activities. Park staff is also busy with trail maintenance within the town rights-of-way. Our Veterans Luncheon will be returning this year on Wednesday, December 7th at 2 p.m. at Carmen Clark Lodge. Under recreation programs, our Halloween trunk or treat plans had been finalized, and now the event has occurred as of October 22nd, and it included trick-or-treating, music, balloon sculpting, a petting zoo, and games. I understand that this was the best attended event in the history of trunk or treat.
By a long shot. The lines of families just kept coming and coming. I think we had over 500.
It's amazing.
It was
it's amazing. So thank you all for your participation in this event. Yeah, and for our parks director, or I'm sorry, our recreations director, Rebecca Cotter, for all her efforts, along with staff at Recreation. Our fall programs within the Recreation Department continue to do well. We're excited to add more DEI programming in collaboration with our DEI office, headed by Miriam Moore, and of course our IDEA Board, Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Advisory Board. Indoor pickleball programs will return this fall and winter, as well as a new cornhole league. Senior programs have seen a boom in attendance this fall, including our weekly Tuesday lunch bunch group. It seems like everybody is returning to post-COVID, post our new COVID reality activities, and we thank you for participating. An update to our Winters Farmers Market. The bid opening for Phase 3 site improvements will be on October 27th, tomorrow at 4 p.m. An update to our Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Advisory Board. We will be recruiting for new members heading into the new year. A formal posting will be published with instructions on how to express interest. There is a DEI workshop scheduled for department heads and town board members on November 14th. An update to our community choice, community solar aggregation. In light of the breach of contract with our CCA supplier, we are examining our options to try to ensure that Brighton residents are made whole. An update to our clean energy community priority actions and sustainability funds. The town's EV stations grant application has been submitted, and we are awaiting an awards announcement. Hopefully, we will end up with a lot of good grant funding on that front. There was also a discussion of pollinator habitat with the Seneca Park Zoo. That took place on Monday, October 24th, to determine potential replacements for the tall grasses that were installed in the Monroe Avenue GIGP. And discussion of potentially repurposing those tall grasses within our park system. Also, there was a discussion of solar options available in town and an update to our Heat Smart Community campaign. The last community forum was held on October 4th, and the next one of 4 will take place on January 17th, 2023. That will be at the Brighton Memorial Library from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. We had an update to our potential Adopt-A-Site program. We will be finalizing the approach that will be adopted with the town attorney. There will likely be group or individual signups to maintain whatever sites within town, similar to the Adopt-A-Highway program, and participants will likely sign a release and waiver in order to be assigned to an area, similar to the process that takes place for Clean Sweep. An update to our council member on your corner. It has been going well at the Brighton Farmers Market. We've had a lot of great conversation. We're averaging over 30 engagements per event. This weekend, we can look forward to raising awareness, helping raise awareness regarding starting a recreation program. And our recreation director, Becky Cotter, will be there. And we do intend to shift to a once-a-month schedule for the 2023 season, but thank you all for your participation. Under items of new business, we hosted our DEI director, Miriam Moore, with an update to our Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Action Plan. The plan was moved to be recommended for adoption by the town board at tonight's meeting, and that did pass unanimously within committee, and it does appear on our town agenda tonight for adoption. I just want to highlight our upcoming events. Our Drug Enforcement Agency National Pharmaceutical Take-Back event will be on Saturday, October 29th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Brighton Town Hall Public Safety Wing, 2300 Elmwood Avenue. Our Veterans Day ceremony will be at the Veterans Memorial at Buckland Park, 1341 Westfall Road on Friday, November 11th at 2 p.m. And again, our Veterans Luncheon will be returning to Carmen Clark Lodge at the Brighton Town Park, 777 Westfall Road on Wednesday, December 7th at 2 p.m. The next meeting of the Community Services Committee will be on Wednesday, November 16th at the Brookside Recreation Center. And please do access the building through the Winton Road entrance. And that will be at 9:30 a.m. As always, public is welcome to attend.
Thanks, Robin. Finance, Jason.
Yes, Bill, the Finance and Administrative Services Committee met last Tuesday, October 18th. Each of the items that were discussed in committee appear on tonight's agenda, including the budget amendment that we discussed at our hearing that just happened tonight. Our next meeting will take place on Tuesday, November 1st. We meet here in Town Hall in the main auditorium at 3:30 in the afternoon, and the public is invited to attend.
Thank you, Jason. Public Safety, Chris.
Thanks, Bill. I reported on our October meeting at the last town board meeting, and there's not been another committee meeting since. Our upcoming meeting has been moved up a week, however, to November 1st at 8 o'clock a.m., after which Public Works will follow. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you. And finally, Public Works. Christine.
Like Public Safety, Public Works has not met since the last town board meeting. We will meet on Tuesday, November 1st at 9 a.m. or when Public Safety concludes, right on the tail of that discussion.
I'll try to be efficient.
You always are. So that is all for Public Works.
Thank you. We'll move on to new business, reading and approval of claims. Jason.
Yes, earlier today I reviewed claims totaling $947,667.53. Notable claims include to the Depository Trust Company in the amount of $61,368.75, representing payment for principal and interest on the 2018 B serial bond for the purchase of parkland. Also to Tradition Ford in the amount of $44,465, representing payment for a 2022 Ford Explorer for the police department. Also to Spring Sheet Metal and Roofing in the amount of $44,959.13, representing payment for the library roof replacement. Also to M.L. Kakamas Electric Corp. in the amount of $99,539.58, representing payment for LED lighting retrofit project and the relocation of 3 Cobra streetlights, and most of that was paid for through New York State SAM grant funding. And finally, to Van Bortle Ford in the amount of $38,542.05, representing payment for a 2022 Ford F-250 Super Cab 4x4 for the sewer department. The claims all appear to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second.
Any discussion on those claims? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing?
Aye. Christine.
Yes, the next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to approve a 1-year renewal for refuse district collection with Waste Management of New York at a unit price increase of 5.51%, effective January 1, 2023 through December 31, 2023. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Here's another way that we try to keep our costs for our residents down, even though it looks like it increases our taxes or our district charges, it actually helps control the cost of living. This contract is for our refuse districts, and we have about 4,500 homes in Brighton that are in our refuse districts. So a large number, but there are plenty of neighborhoods that don't yet have refuse districts. Yes, it's a 5.5% increase, and that's pursuant to a formula that's in our 4-year contract with Waste Management. But that puts the rate per household at $277.68 per year. My understanding is that the rack rate, if you will, the rate that Waste Management charges individuals that move into Brighton or some other community, pick up the phone and say, how much, I'd like to have Waste Management pick up my garbage, how much does that cost, is now over $400 a year. So when you join a refuse district, you're saving close to $150 per year over the standard Waste Management price. So a great job. Chad Roscoe in particular, who is the guardian, if you will, of those refuse districts, and kudos again for getting that contract in place and saving our residents some money.
And Supervisor, if I might, a friend of mine just started service in another community, and his The bill is just under 500.
Wow.
So
Maybe it's more like
maybe
200.
even better
we're
than we
saving
thought.
people.
Yep.
I did write about how to set up a refuge district in the October Brighton Connections magazine. Obviously, we've done the budget for this year for 2023, but looking forward, now is the time to start. Get your neighborhood together. It's a petition process, and it doesn't have to be the whole neighborhood. I think sometimes we get sort of stuck that we need a whole neighborhood. I don't want to pick on any neighborhood, but you can add a street. You don't have to have 200 homes. You can add 20 homes on a street. So again, if any of you out there are interested in saving 150 plus, let's say, and we've done a lot of these over the years. We've now consolidated them into one district. If anybody is interested in doing that, Chad Roscoe in our Public Works Department is the person you want to talk to. Chad's phone number is 784-5224. 784-5224. Chad Roscoe, R-O-S-C-O-E. We have a motion, and it's been seconded to authorize that renewal. Any further comments? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Christine, why don't you do the next two individually, 2 promotions in the highway
These are nice ones
department.
to do. The next matter seeks to promote David Griffith from the position of laborer to motor equipment operator. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Any discussion? Mike, anything you want to say about
I'll make it,
Griffith?
I'll say something for both of them. For both of them. Both are excellent candidates. They're relatively new to our department, started in 2022. But they have proven themselves to be excellent employees, and they both have acquired their CDL, so they're getting ready to plow the roads for winter. So,
hopefully months from now. We have a motion and a second for that promotion for David Griffith. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. And for Mr. Sanborn?
Yes, the next matter seeks to promote William Sanborn from the position of laborer to motor equipment operator. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
And Mike already spoke of both of them. Further discussion, anyone? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy?
Aye. Chris, the next matter, please.
Next matter is to authorize the solicitation of bids for the demolition of the property at 59 Hampshire Drive. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
This is a matter that we took action on 2 weeks ago after a public hearing. The next step in that project, we had a lengthy discussion about the opportunity for the property owner to take tangible steps towards remedying a property condition code issue that was terribly problematic. And Mike, I'm going to ask if you would give us an update on where the owner is at in terms of addressing the situation.
Absolutely, Supervisor. Thank you. The owner, we've been in contact with the owner. He's been very proactive, calling us, making sure he's giving us updates on what he's going to plan to do, what he is doing. A dumpster was delivered to the site yesterday. They emptied out the garage today, which is not, it sounds like it's not a big deal, but it was a big deal. So they've been in there working on the house. Going forward, they're going to continue to, they're going to remove this dumpster, bring in another dumpster to clean out the house. He's going to have another crew come into the house, more of a professional crew, someone who can recognize structural deficiencies and things of that nature. So they'll be cleaning out the house, And at that point, they'll be making determinations whether that house has to be taken down or whether they can repair the house. So far, so good. We've had, we're moving ahead. We're moving ahead with good progress, I think, so far. And we have constant contact with the owner.
And with the residents, as I understand it, you've had at least some interaction with.
Correct. At the last meeting I received the contact information for the neighborhood contact, I guess is the best way to say it. So I've been trying to email them maybe once, twice a day once we found out what was going on. And we'll try to keep them in the loop best we can.
That's terrific. Once or twice a day?
Well, when
That's
the owner
phenomenal.
calls
Thank
me,
you.
I let them know. So we've, like I said, the owner's been proactive. He's been good. Hopefully we're on a good track here. And we won't have to, the intent of this is to have sort of a safety net. If something happens where it doesn't go as we had planned, this will give us the option and the ability to go right to bid, or at least prepare the bid documents to go to bid.
We said we would hold their feet to the fire.
Right.
This is part of holding their feet to the fire.
That's
while
correct.
giving them the opportunity to remedy the situation themselves.
That's correct.
Ken, did you want to?
Yeah, Commissioner Guyon's given you a good report on where things are progressing. I just want to point out to the board that this board determined that this house is unsafe. It still is unsafe. And so we want to stay on track under our code to be able to make sure that we can get it down if that needs to happen. The time period that the owner has under the code is 30 days from 2 weeks ago to have the property either repaired or demolished. I think that the commissioner has discretion to extend that period of time if good progress is being made. Clearing out the house is the first step in order to evaluate the condition of the property to determine, as Mike said, whether the property can be salvaged or whether it does in fact need to be demolished. But we need to see more, and we need to stay on track, as Mike said. And so it's our joint recommendation that you do take this action tonight to authorize him to put together a request for bids for a demolition contractor to take that property down, so we don't lose time if that needs to happen.
Good. Good. Any further discussion? I do think that, as you both just said, although the owner has a lot of work left to do, and at least initially, a relatively short period of time to do it, they've begun. They appear to be acting in good faith. But I do recommend that we move forward with soliciting these bids so that if we don't get a good result voluntarily, we're in a position to, if necessary, take it. We said it last time, and I'll say it again. This is a last resort. Demolishing a home is the last thing we want to do. It's a situation that's saved for an extreme case. Sadly, this is an extreme case, not just because of the duration, but because of the condition of the house. It's exposed to the elements, the risk of animals, the risk of mold, the risk of other damage is too big to ignore and too big not to keep on a very tight leash. So I'm prepared to look at their efforts, and you have the discretion to make some decisions about going forward once we get to that 30-day frame, but I want to make sure we're staying on top of them with this action. Anything further? We have a motion and a second. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Robin, the next matter, please.
Thank you. The next matter seeks to adopt the Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Action Plan. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second.
I think everybody wants to second this one, and for good reason. This is a landmark This is I can't overstate the significance of this proposal. This idea plan is the product of 3 years plus of work by volunteers, town staff, a town consultant, Gwen Weber McLeod and her team, and now our Chief Diversity Officer, Miriam Moore, who's with us this evening. Adopting an Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Action Plan, an IDEA plan, puts us once again at the cutting edge. To the best of our knowledge, we know there's no one else in Monroe County. Well, I'm not aware of any other town in upstate New York that has such a plan. And in fact, as we were putting this plan together, to find a really good example of a plan that was working, we had to go all the way across the country to Beaverton, Oregon. And we Zoomed with them and learned what they were doing and incorporated their ideas into the thought process. Robin was the town board liaison. Former town board member Sheila Gaddis has been serving as my special advisor on DEI matters. The community participated through a World Cafe, through other community opportunities to provide input. And with all of that work, we now have this proposed Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Action Plan. And yet, that just in some ways starts the process, or it starts a new process. Because if we take this plan and put it on the shelf, we've failed. And we're not going to do that. In fact, we've already begun to implement this plan. The appointment of a Chief Diversity Officer is one of the cornerstone elements of this plan. Incorporating DEI into communications from the town is an important part of the plan, and we have begun that. As Robin mentioned earlier, in about 2 weeks, Miriam is going to be leading senior staff and elected officials in a seminar on unconscious bias. That's just the first of many, I'm sure, training opportunities for all of us. There's a lot in this plan. It took a lot of time, tough time. I know the committee worked very hard to put it together. I'm very pleased that we've gotten to this stage, and I'm looking forward to adopting this plan and continuing the implementation process. Robin, is there anything you want to say?
No, I just want to congratulate everybody that was involved in this process. And it is a culmination, and yet it's a beginning. And I'm very excited that our town has taken this initial step and that we continue to live our values of being the inclusionary community that we want to be. So I just, again, want to thank everybody, the IDEA board, our consultants, the town board members, our staff, and department heads who have all produced this plan, and along with the community. And I look forward to its continued implementation and evolution as we continue on this path.
I do want to thank these individuals, the IDEA board members, because they did do a lot of work, starting with our current co-chairs, Dr. Rashid Mohammed and Sarah Johnstone, the previous initial chair of the IDEA board, Felicia Garcia Hartstein, as well as members Mike Boucher, Manish Dixit, Chris Hildebrand, Amy Shee, Helen Jones, Mark Kukanovich, Catherine Kubiak-Rizzoni, Chris Ross, Cindy Soberai, and Laura Weaver. Thank you to each of these members and a couple of others who had to leave before the completion of the project. We have a motion and it's been seconded. Any further discussion from the board? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Congratulations all. Aye. On the last item of new business, Jason.
Yes, the next matter seeks to approve the location of Heritage Christian Services Community Residence at 1240 Crittenden Road pursuant to Section 41.34 of the New York State Mental Hygiene Law. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second.
We do have representatives here. If we need you, we'll have you come up to the podium. Obviously, we did hear from them at our last meeting, and we also heard not only from Heritage Christian Services, but also from some residents at the West Brighton Forum, and of course, Crittenden Road, this location is in West Brighton. Under that section of the state mental hygiene law, section 4134, the town has 40 days to take one of three actions. Either to approve the site, to suggest another site or sites that might be more appropriate, or to reject the site based on a concentration of other residential facilities, either operated by that operator or by other operators, to an extent that it would change the character of the community. So that's the framework that the town board is working within tonight. And it is my recommendation, as set out in the letter that you have, that we approve this site based on the feedback we got, and based in no small part on the great dialogue that I think Mike started with Heritage Christian on issues, in particular the sewer and the potential to convert from a septic system to a sewer, a private sewer connection, as is the case with the other group home in that area, but Heritage Christian's very proactive approach to mitigating any neighborhood impacts, in particular the driveway, putting in a loop in the driveway to minimize backing and therefore minimize backup alarms from vehicles. Your recognition of the kind of issues that sometimes come into play in a neighborhood. Thank you for all of that. I know there'll be further discussions. Just so the public, again, is aware, this will be, it's an existing home, a single-story home, which is significant because this community ages out. And it's important to be able to live on a single level. It's currently a 5-bedroom home. They propose interior changes that would make it a 6-bedroom home. Initially, after the work is done, it would, the plan is for it to be a temporary home for a current group or family of developmentally disabled adults who are in need of their own home being upgraded and made more accessible for them. And it would then later, probably in, I believe you suggested, if not late 23, 2024, become the permanent home for 6 developmentally disabled adults who currently live in Pittsford that would move to this location again to be more accessible to their own needs. Are there any comments or questions either from board members or from staff? Anything that you'd like to add from Heritage? I'll just mention we do currently have, I believe, 3 Heritage Christian residential facilities in Brighton, one at 600 Clover Street near Mercy High School, and 2 on the 12 Corners Presbyterian campus on Winton Road behind the church there. And I think it's fair to say that we've had a good track record working with Heritage Christian at each of those sites. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll on the motion to approve that location.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing.
Aye. Thank you again. We look forward to working with you, and we look forward to welcoming another Heritage Christian family to Brighton. Matters of the supervisor. You're going to hear this from me now for the next couple meetings, but it is leaf season, and they are falling fast and furious, and I hope folks were able to get them out while they were dry before the rain came today. The Highway Department has been picking up leaves, both bulk and containerized leaves, since a week ago Monday. Again, this time of year, it's important to remind residents of the guidelines that the Highway Department has established to enable them to pick up leaves quickly and efficiently. First and most important, and I promised a resident I'd say this today, and I'm going to say it again next week, please do not pile your leaves in the street. It's dangerous for cyclists, it's dangerous for pedestrians, and it's dangerous for cars. It's also illegal. It also causes neighborhood drainage issues when we get heavy rains and clog storm sewers. Do not pile your leaves in the street. Keep them on the lawn. If you have a sidewalk, that tree lawn between the sidewalk and the pavement of the street is where you want to put them. If you don't have a sidewalk, put them on your lawn, close to but not on the pavement. If you have large quantities of leaves, we understand it's often not practical to containerize them, put them in refuse cans or big brown bags. That's okay. We do pick them up in bulk from your grass, please. If you have a small quantity, if you have enough to fit in a garbage can, or maybe even 2 garbage cans, please do containerize them. Put them in a container. Don't leave them by the street. Honestly, as fast as the leaves are falling now, our crews are going to drive right by them. They're not going to be able to tell if it's a leaf pile. But if you containerize them, A, it's less unsightly in your neighborhood. B, they're not going to blow around, which is less unsightly for your neighborhood. And they'll get picked up quicker because we're able to pick up containerized debris more quickly, much closer to weekly. So if you've got small quantities, containerize them. Very, very important.
Bill, if I may add, the greenest and easiest option is let the leaves stay put over the winter.
Yep.
And do the tidy up in the spring. They provide a habitat for lots of little critters, that insects particularly, that are pollinators, and your back will appreciate having only half the work to do.
That's
and
right.
your lawn will actually look pretty darn good come spring.
And of course, you can also mow them. You know, if you don't like the look, or of all those leaves, mulch them. Use your mulching mower and mulch them in. And a reminder, since we're talking about mowing, this is true around the calendar. We do not pick up grass clippings under any circumstance. Again, leave them on your lawn. They'll make your lawn greener, more nutrient rich. I talked about the West Brighton Community Forum. Our East Brighton Community Forum is coming up next week. It is, I want to make sure I've got, it's next Wednesday, a week from tonight. November 2nd at 7 p.m. over at the landing of Brighton, the senior community behind Mercy High School.
Legacy.
The Legacy, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. The Legacy, 7 o'clock. And finally, elections. Early voting begins this Saturday, October 29th. If you go to the Board of Elections webpage, you'll get hours and locations of all the early voting sites, but for most of us here in Brighton, the early voting site at SUNY Empire State College at 680 Westfall Road is the closest. It's also incredibly convenient. Parking lot is right there. I've voted there now several times, early voting, and really great in and out service there. Election day itself, of course, is Tuesday, November 8th, and the polls will be open. Of course, all of the Brighton locations, again, you know, if you're not sure, check the Board of Elections webpage. You'll get, probably gotten communication. But Tuesday, November 8th is Election Day from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. These are important elections. Please remember to vote. Dan?
And since this would have been my matters of the clerk anyway, I'll just jump in now. No, that's fine. Make sure you check your polling site. There have been a number of changes this year. So make sure, you know, that letter that you get earlier in the summer that we largely uniformly put directly into the blue bin, because we know where our polling site is. We go there a couple times a year. But make sure you check, because, again, a number of them have changed. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, the Board of Elections has removed the town clerks from the process. So I don't have much inside knowledge, but certainly if you call my office, we're more than happy to help you determine where your polling place is.
Thank you, Dan. That's everything that I have. Matters of the town attorney.
You know that there is an executive session matter on already, one of Mike's matters, I believe. In addition to that, I do have an executive session matter that Chief Cathaldi and I would like to discuss. It's another personnel matter.
Good. Matters of the clerk.
I'll just note too, the monroecounty.gov, right on the homepage there, the nicely redesigned homepage this summer, I might add. There's the Board of Elections, one of the top prominent squares is right there. And there's a link where you can put in your address and find your polling site.
Great. Thank you, Dan. Matters of the board. Hearing none, then can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment of particular people?
So moved.
Second.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Thanks for sticking it out with us. Thank you again to our ASL interpreters. We really appreciate you making our meetings accessible. Our next board meeting is Wednesday night, November 9th at 7 p.m. Again, in person here in this room and hybrid remotely on Zoom. Have a great night, everybody.